Not Quite Cool is a podcast that contains spoilers, opinions, and general nonsense. Listener discretion is advised.
We're recording in progress. So welcome everybody to Not Quite Cool. And depending on your point of view, we're either a little cooler or even further away from being cool this week because we're missing Keith Brooks. You're not going to believe this, but that son of a bitch had the balls to skip this podcast because, get this, he booked a job. He'd actually rather work on a movie. Idiot. He'd rather work on a movie than talk about movies.
It's insane.
It's
insanity.
It's absurd. What is wrong with him? I don't even get it. It makes no sense. When you could be talking about a bunch of movies, he wants to work on one of them. Good Lord. It's so stupid. And he's getting paid.
If it's a top secret, even if it's a top secret movie with Tom Cruise, so what?
So what? And he's getting paid, so he's a sellout. You know, what an absolute loser. That's what he is.
I'll make a vow right now that I will vow to never make one dime from this podcast. Oh, that's what I'm going to make that vow.
That's right. Everything I made, I'm donating to my favorite charity, me. I swear I'll never miss a podcast to work on a job, to work on a movie. I hate to even say that and put it out in the world because the bitch like, all right, son of a bitch, you never get cast again.
I'd say there'll probably be less big words in this podcast. There'll be less references to Shakespeare in the Park that he did or some crazy stuff like that. So
I want to welcome our lowest common denominator fans who will understand the podcast this week. Those of you who weren't winners of the vocabulary test in third grade, vocabulary contest, welcome. You won't feel ashamed. You won't feel bad about yourself when Keith, in his big words, his word of the day toilet paper, condescending. Oh God,
that's the perfect word for it. Condescending.
Condescending.
Oh
Now don't ask me to spell it because it's a big word, but he'll be back next week to spell it for you if need be. But I kid. Keith is working on a movie. He's an actor and he booked something, by God. And he's probably going to edit this thing later, of course, even though he's shooting tomorrow. So yeah, that's right. So he'll hear this. So we'll have a little condensed version for you this week. We're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about Thor. We saw Thor, Love and Thunder. We're going to talk about just a wrap up on the season of Miss Marvel, how we felt about it, and the season finale. Did it stick the landing? A few trailers. Lord of the Rings, which had $1 billion behind it. The Munsters, which looks like it had $14 behind it.
One spectrum to the other.
Wow. Sure. And you see if you can tell the two apart. And, what else? Honk for Jesus, which Chad told me about today. And sorry,
Stranger Things finale. We got that.
Yeah, Chad talking about Stranger Things finale. I literally, I'm going to sit back and listen. I haven't seen it since season 1. I saw a trailer for. I didn't even know this was being made. A remake of American Gigolo with John Bernthal on Showtime. I didn't know they were making it. It was one of a decent trailer. He's great. It looked at high quality. We can bring that up if you want. But let's get to it, shall we? Let's jump in. What do you want to talk about first? Miss Marvel or Love and Thunder?
Let's roll with Thor. It's a movie,
I want to make sure I just didn't. That one. I almost accidentally stopped recording. That would be absolute par for the course.
Well, I'm a little worried because for the newer listeners, the couple of times that Rob has been responsible for the recording, he calls up later and is like, I can't find the recording, guys. So I'm a little worried. I'd almost rather have Keith's big words than Rob's recording skills, if I'm being honest.
Amen to that. Amen to that, without question. Let me get Thor: Love and Thunder. Let me pull that up here. Let me tell you a little bit about Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor: Love and Thunder is Thor 4, as they call it in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Again, Taika Waititi returning as director. We all loved the last one, Thor: Ragnarok. And they say we all, Chad and I, we all loved it here. And if you don't like it, well, you're stupid. What a cast of thousands. I mean, are you kidding me? Hemsworth, Natalie Portman, the above average Christian Bale as Gore the God Butcher, Tessa Thompson, Taika Waititi, possibly one of my favorite characters in the universe, Korg. And he also voiced, it says here, the old Cronin god. I didn't know that. Russell Crowe, Jamie Alexander, who is only in this because she got lucky. She was going to be one of them who were killed in Ragnarok, right? She was going to be with them, but she was working. She couldn't get out of the contract. She was doing that show on NBC.
Blind Spot? Is that
Blind Spot? Yeah. And because of that, she's now got a second life. Then you have the Guardians of Galaxy. You got Chris Pratt, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Palm Clementine, Toff. I can't pronounce that. I feel bad. Sean Gunn, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, a list of thousands. I like going down here because down here at the bottom, they have uncredited. I love that. I was looking at this before. The uncredited names are almost bigger than the credited names. Kat Dennings, well, she's credited as Darcy. Idris Elba, Brett Goldstein as Hercules. We have now Matt Damon, uncredited. You have Luke Hemsworth, uncredited. Melissa McCarthy, uncredited. Just unbelievable. Sam Neill, uncredited, coming back, reprising their role as the Asgardian actors. Chad, what did you think about? What does it say in the? I want to see what the description says here. It says. I can't find that part of the page. It says I can't find that part of the page where the description is.
I think if you're listening to this podcast, you probably know what Thor: Love and Thunder is about.
Let's see. It should be. Where is it? God damn it! It says. It's normally right. Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Korg, and ex-girlfriend Jane Foster to fight Gore the God Butcher, who intends to make the gods extinct. Chad, what did you think about Thor: Love and Thunder?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I don't think that it was on the same level as Ragnarok. That's a tough mountain to climb, though, because Ragnarok is top tier Marvel for me. It might be in the top 5 of Marvel films. Ragnarok is incredible. So, I didn't expect it to meet the highs of Ragnarok, but it's still a lot of fun. I think Christian Bale was great. I think he was adequately creepy when he needed to be creepy. I think that the makeup, he looked really scary a lot of the times, especially when he was kind of like messing with the kids. It was creepy. He did a good job at that. But it was just a lot of fun. It was goofy. Like we've said it before, we love Taika. This had a lot of Taika humor in it. I loved like the whole subplot with his hammer Stormbreaker and how his hammer's jealous of Mjolnir, his old ex-girlfriend. I thought that was so well done. And so the fact that his ex-girlfriend has his ex-hammer and Stormbreaker's like, hey, what about me over here? Like it was so funny and so well done. I just love stuff like that. We had some Guardians in there. We love the Guardians just a little bit at the beginning, which we expected. So that wasn't like a disappointment because that's what I thought would happen. They just be in at the beginning. They'd be gone. So, Taika with the music, the needle drops were perfect. I thought it just added to the movie so much, some of those songs at those moments. Overall, yeah, I mean, we can get into a little bit more, but yeah, I had fun with it. I don't see what some of the hate is online, that I'm seeing, but again, it's not Ragnarok, but it's still great. It's good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, it's what I was thinking. If Taika, if the world had a pick, you only get one Taika. You get Taika as Korg and Taika as director. Which Taika would you choose if you only have one? And I love that character of Korg so much. I might go, all right, give me Korg for a while and let somebody else direct. But I love Taika's movies. Let me tell you what happened. Some people in the Marvel Cinematic, not Marvel, some fans of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I think they got too close to the Star Wars fans and they caught it. They caught that thing where you're just a dick.
They caught the bug.
They caught the bug. They caught that thing where you're just a dick about that thing, that you're taking way too much ownership in it and you're being assholes about it. You're just not allowing yourself to enjoy. That being said, I smiled the whole time. I smiled the whole time. I enjoyed it. It was fun from moment to moment to moment. The little relationships, like you said, between him and Stormbreaker and the Hammer, ex-girlfriends, ex-hammers. I loved everything about it. Everybody in it's great. I did feel like it was a bit rushed. I felt like they were blowing through beat points and just trying to get to the next thing constantly. I did hear that that there was a 4-hour cut originally, which obviously they're not going to release a 4-hour cut. I mean, don't be absurd. But I mean, obviously they shot so much stuff, and when you're shooting stuff like that, things make sense in the moment. And when you got to cut out 50% of what you had, things are going to suffer, right? I would have loved to have seen a little bit more with the Guardians and what they were doing prior to getting there. Last we saw Thor left with the Guardians. I would love to have seen a little more of what just happened, so things they did together, just for a few minutes. I think I think the last two movies, this one and Doctor Strange, suffered on a similar thing where it was sort of promise of the premise, and they didn't deliver on it. And in the way that, to me personally, I'm not saying this is Chad's belief or Keith's belief, but the Multiverse of Madness did not deliver on Multiverse of Madness. You had about 45 seconds of them flying through different multiverses, blah, 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 blah. We saw them in a couple of different places. But for the most part, it wasn't traveling through multiverses constantly. We didn't get to really experience a lot of that. And this one is, Love and Thunder, Gore the God Butcher. I didn't see any butchering. I mean, I hear that they shot butchering. I hear that it was so effective and violent that Disney Marvel cut it. But other than the first time he stabbed that god who let him and his daughter down, I didn't see a whole lot of butchering. And I wouldn't even call that butchering. He was defending himself. He was about to die. I think it really let us down. I think Christian Bale, we didn't get to see full Christian Bale. We didn't get to see Bale taking over and truly being this terrifying force. And I think, again, I think Multiverse was about 2 hours, and this was about 2 hours. I think Disney, I think sometimes they shorten the movies to get extra screen times, and you hear that. I don't think Disney Marvel has that problem. I think they should just allow it to breathe, let us soak in the story a little bit more. We're going to go. The fans are going to go, a longer period of time. They're going to spend more time in the theater. Again, I don't know if it has to do with them wanting to get the movie to the streaming service quicker. But I'll talk about that again a little later. I felt it was a little rushed. I had some things written down here. I felt, Thor's an interesting character. I felt like he had gotten to a certain level of a really nice balance of, he was funny, but he was still kind of grounded and brave. And they kind of dumbed him down a little bit here too, where they kind of made him a little kind of it was a little too silly at times for me, a little too absent-minded at times. And I don't know why they did that to him, and that maybe it's just my opinion. But that being said, I enjoyed the movie. It's so hard to live up to the standards of the best of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I think the problem with when everything is connected as it's supposed to be. It's judged against everything. It's not just a movie by itself. It's this movie judged against everything else. And I think we see, as the more movies get made, the reviews are getting, the critiques are getting, more harsh and lower because there's more to compare it to. And the more we get, the more we want. And this what was this on Rotten Tomatoes, about 68%. I mean, it's subjective, but, people want more. They want, with the Feige and Marvel, they created their own monster here. So we'll see what it does in the box office. I know it dropped significantly second weekend, close to 70%. We'll see what it does. I think what Marvel should do is something some of the other production companies just did, is they're not stating what the window is to going to streaming. They're just going to drop it on you. So I think, they might be losing a little box office because people go, I can wait 45 days. 45 days is nothing. 6 weeks. It'll be here, right. Bam, like that.
Especially if you miss opening weekend or something like that. Opening week, you're just like, well, I could just wait. It's like a month.
It's around the corner. I really like the idea. I was listening last night how a couple of Paramount and Universal are just going, we're not going to tell you. The window is to be determined, and let it marinate out there a little bit. But anyway, I digress. Again, I liked it. It's not top 10 for me. Ragnarok was top 10. I think maybe that's what the three of us should do in the next couple of weeks, is do our rankings of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I got a list of all different kind of rankings I want to do. Big ranking guy all of a sudden, sort of rank things.
It's a new segment on the show, but we're not doing it today because Keith is
not. We want Keith to be part of it. Rob's rank.
Unless we're going to rank like maybe the top 5 Top Gun characters, something that Keith has no interest in.
Top 5 Keith Brooks performances. That's
not quite cool. Episode 5. Not quite cool. Episode 7.
He was great at that. And his bottom 5 performances are not quite cool. The first episode. But I enjoyed it. Again, look, if you're gonna smile the whole time, I'll watch it again when it is on Marvel, and when it's on Disney Plus. It's one of those that no matter where it is, I'll watch a couple minutes of it because it's entertaining. And I love the goats. But I heard some people complaining the goats were too much. I literally could have had more goats. I laughed like an idiot every time the goats screamed.
Honestly, I expected the goats to be in the final end credit sequence, because that's, it's a joke. The last one's typically a joke. So I was like, yeah, it's going to be the goats. The goats are coming back, and that's going to be the final end credit sequence. It wasn't, but so yeah, the goats were fine. I feel like that part of maybe some of the purists, and again, I love Marvel comics. I read them all. Like I'm big time into reading the comic. I think part of what some people didn't like is if you're basing it on the original story with Gore the God Butcher, how much darker that is. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I know he killed gods, and like you had said, to your point, that there wasn't a whole lot of butchering, but there was no like funny stuff in that story. Yeah. There wasn't any humor with Thor going toe to toe with the God Butcher. That was it. The stuff with Jane Foster, while they had this in the movie, and I thought they actually did it pretty well with her having cancer, and every time she turned into Thor, it would kind of reset back to the cancer being as bad as it was. And that was, a lot. That was months and months and months in the comics. Do you know what I mean? Of her changing back and forth, and you really seen the progression of her getting worse and worse. So granted, 2-hour movie, you can't do that. So I felt like that they did that part just about as well as they could with explaining the situation and like showing her when she was quote human and not Thor. But certainly the people that really love Gore probably would not want a lot of the humor and the goofiness that was in the movie. So, I mean, I can understand that, but also feel like you kind of got to know that's what this is. You shouldn't be surprised, is what I should say.
Yeah.
Because it's Taika, and presumably you've seen Ragnarok. So you got to know that it's going to be funny and humorous, and they're going to be making jokes, and it's not going to be as deathly serious as the source material in that case. But I will say, even though I'm kind of arguing for it being fine to be funny, what I didn't like is the portrayal of Zeus as Russell Crowe. I mean, Russell Crowe is Zeus.
Zeus was great as Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Zeus was...
I love Russell Crowe. He's one of my favorite actors. He's amazing. And I'm sure, like, they talked about what he was doing with that, and I'm sure he did that perfectly. But to me, that's not Zeus. Zeus is the Greek Odin. So Odin and Zeus are similar-ish in the way they are and act. And he just really just seemed like a buffoon. And that's not Zeus to me.
Yeah, if that's the case, and again, you are the comic book, well, you and Keith are both comic guys, but you're the comic book aficionado here. And if you're telling me that in the comics, Zeus is on par with Odin as far as the way he behaves, is powerful and grounded. If you put Hopkins Odin against Crow's Zeus, Odin slaps the shit out of Zeus. Are you kidding? It's not even. Yeah. It's not even. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Comparing the two, it's like, wow, one is a goofball, and one is terrifying.
Yeah. And I know they made Zeus like the king of the gods or whatever his title was.
Yeah.
But still, he was a complete goofball. And I'm not saying that in one comic that he might not have acted that way. It's very possible, but that's typically not the way he acts. He's kind of like Odin. He's not in as much because, again, Hercules is the way that you get to Zeus a lot of the times. And Hercules doesn't have his own comic, unlike Thor that's had his own comic forever. So you don't see as much as Zeus. But when Zeus is around, he's like, yeah, I'm the leader. I do what everybody needs to do what I say. Hercules, I'm going to punish you like Odin punishes Zeus. I mean, that's just the way it is. So when I heard Russell Crowe being Zeus, I was super excited. He's walking around all dainty and just, talking in this weird accent. And I was not feeling Zeus, but again, it's fine. I can take it because that's the type of movie we're in. I get it.
And I it's funny, you were talking before about Portman's character and her having cancer in it, and I think where they missed out here is and I'll get back to Goldstein in a minute. What I think is, if you haven't seen Ted Lasso, the guy's phenomenal. The guy is absolutely phenomenal. I didn't realize he was that jacked, and he might not be, but his attitude is just, he is a badass, and he is actually just ice cold badass. I would say that one of Taika Waititi's strengths is his balance of beautiful, heartfelt comedy and raucous comedy, balanced out with tragedy and grounded seriousness. And the way like Jojo Rabbit, he lets you have his fun, but he's always reminding you of the deathly ill consequences of the world these people live in. And that's why I think this movie really could have taken a little more time in letting Taika balance out the relationship of the Guardians with Thor at the beginning, just a little bit, just to give them a little bit more to do. But more importantly, what he could have done with another 10, 15 minutes of Natalie Portman with the cancer and just, showing someone self-deprecating and going through that. Don't get me wrong, they hit it. You got it, what she was going through. But he's so good at the balance of those things. I thought that was sort of taken away from him a little bit. And I would have liked to have seen a little more of his being able to Jojo Rabbit it a little bit.
Right.
In a way. I do love about the Marvel Cinematic Universe is they get huge names to do small things, which is great. And they have all the quote unquote actors back, and even had Melissa McCarthy jump in as Hela, and which was great. And her husband Ben Falcone in real life was the AD, was the director on the thing. Matt Damon's back, Luke Hemsworth's back, Sam Neill's back. It's just so funny. Everybody, they're playing. Obviously, we're not knocking the movie. We just, I think we're as guilty as anybody is wanting things to be perfect, and there is no perfect when it comes to this. There's just, we're sort of at the mercy of the filmmakers, and they've got us. It's like, fuck, they've got us, and we just want it as good as we can. But again, I'll see it again. I'll watch it again. I'm hooked. It is what it is. I'm looking for Thor 5. I was gonna say Brett Goldstein as at the end, the tags. Obviously, I thought Zeus was killed as well, but obviously he's a god. He's not dead. Nobody dies. But what a nice surprise to that low angle shot of Brett Goldstein as Hercules. Because now immediately you're like, well, I want to watch that now. I want to watch those two go toe to toe now. That would be,
no doubt.
Oh,
and it's funny, when the credits started rolling, I said to Maggie, I said, I haven't heard anything, I haven't read anything. I said, but I can tell you what I think the mid-credit stinger is going to be. Do you mean to tell you what I think it's going to be? Because it's going to be a spoiler. And she was like, what? I said, it's going to be Zeus, who's not dead, enlisting Hercules to take care of Thor. That's what it's going to be.
Bingo.
And
on the button.
Yeah. So that was, but back to you talking about the, actors that are just showing up for like cameo roles or whatever. It was so funny to me after the children were kidnapped and they're almost at that town hall. And Matt Damon comes up and he's like, the city needs entertainment or art more than ever. We need to do a play about this. And I was like, it's so funny. Matt Damon and Hemsworth doing that to Tessa Thompson. It was so funny.
I love it. She looks at them like they're idiots. And he goes, I didn't hear it, no.
And he's like, neither did I. Or whatever.
That was great. That was very, very funny. What else I was going to say? And again, a nice full circle of, I don't think anybody knew what the hell Love and Thunder meant. I didn't get that until the final credit scene where he had died, basically becomes surrogate father for, spoilers, it's what we do here. A surrogate father for, Gor's daughter. I mean, it was great. And that girl was great. That's his daughter in real life.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's his real life daughter. So
it's really gorgeous daughter.
His son played, and his real life son played him Thor young, like when he was running. I think, something like that. So, yeah, it's definitely a family affair with Thor. That's for sure.
Yes. What is a Hemsworth? A shitload of money. Thank you very much. Hey, but hey, thank you. Try the deal. Thank you. That's I'm gonna.
Too bad Keith isn't here to insult you about that.
I'm gonna punish everyone listening tonight with bad puns.
Speaking of the Guardians, there's no Gamora.
Yep.
I didn't see her. Now, granted, it's a different Gamora from what we're used to, based on Endgame.
Yep.
It's not necessarily the same one that's been with them the whole time. But I did think it was interesting that she was not there at all. I mean, obviously, it's going to be a plot point and a story point for Guardians 3. So it's kind of like James Gunn handle this.
Yeah, where they're looking for her. Yeah,
exactly. Something. So it wasn't like, blown away or like, oh my gosh, that's horrible. Yeah. But I just thought it was interesting that she was not a part of the group.
Yeah. And I get it was conspicuous, but only conspicuous because you're like, is Gamora going to be there? Okay, she's not. That's the next story. That's the next story. And I'm no doubt she'll be in the next one. I mean, she's amazing.
Now, is the holiday special coming out before? I think the holiday special is coming out before.
Yeah, so she won't be
that's one where is it canon? Is it going to be like the Star Wars holiday special? Not bad, but I just mean like what? I don't like.
Not according to the. Well, I think he'll dream about her. He'll have a fantasy about her. Okay. He'll do something like that. He'll see her in a, something will happen. He'll come across some kind of stone or some kind of place where he'll see, he'll look through something and she'll be there and it'll be like, and I bet you it ties into the Guardians movie coming out, 6 months later, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I could even see him maybe hooking up with another girl. And when he looks at her, it's like Gamora's face. And it freaks him out as he's like, that kind of deal. So anything can happen. As far as Thor goes, it's a thumbs up for me. Again, not in the top tier echelon, but still pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I'm with you. I'm right with you. All right. Let me click that one off my page. I think we're talking about Miss Marvel. Another one at this point, everything's divisive. Literally, it's just, nothing isn't divisive. It's just, you should just accept the word or just ignore the word, because no matter what comes out from now on, everything's going to be divisive. It's never going to please everybody. I'll tell you this, maybe a couple of weeks ago, we did our list of our favorite comic book. Maybe we'll do the list of our favorite Marvel shows. I think there's 7 of them now, and where Miss Marvel falls. But again, there's no perfect. I think. And again, we're diving into Miss Marvel right now. Unless you have anything more to say about?
No, I'm good. Let's roll.
All righty, I'm almost prepared to read to you Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel says, "Oh God damn it! I just had the damn thing. Son of a bitch."
He is so much better than you at this.
Oh, he is just the best.
It's so seamless when he does it. It's amazing.
And let me tell you about Kamala. Kamala is a superhero fan with an imagination. Particularly, Chad, when it comes to Captain Marvel, Kamala feels like she doesn't fit in at school and sometimes even at home. That is until she gets, I got to click a button to read the rest of it. I don't know. Kamala, that is until she gets superpowers like the heroes she looked up to. Synopsis. It looks like we don't have a synopsis here yet. All right. Okay.
This is our Emmy episode. There is no doubt.
Who put the question mark there? He reads everything. He's an idiot. Let me get back to so this show was just so damn, yes, did it veer off in a couple of places. Again, you can hear the word rushed a lot when it comes to this. God damn, I was charmed the entire time. Chad, jump in. I'm going to click on some buttons here. You talk about the show that I found charming to no end.
Yeah, so I'd mentioned this before, and I still feel the same way. This is really like a Spider-Man comic brought to life, almost more so than the MCU Spider-Man movies, because in the Spider-Man comic, he's in high school. Not now because he's grown up, but the bulk of Spider-Man there for a while. He's in high school, and it's a lot about his supporting cast.
Mhm.
He is the best supporting cast in comics. Whether it's his aunt, it's J. Jonah Jameson, it's Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy, Flash, all of his friends. He is an amazing supporting cast, and I feel like this show shined with its supporting cast. Her family, the mom and dad are incredible. The mom might be my favorite character on the show. They are awesome. Her friends are awesome. I loved all the high school stuff, or when she was, interacting in New Jersey with all this. But I do think it veered off a little bit when she went to Pakistan.
Yep.
But again, because that took it away from high school, which is what I wanted to see.
Yep.
But then again, we came back before it was over. This show's a lot of fun. I don't know what to say about her other than she is perfect casting. She is so endearing. I love her as Miss Marvel. And so to give a little more history with, comics, back in the day, when they would have comics, a lot of these heroes would have sidekicks. That's why Batman had Robin that was a child, basically. Hulk had Rick Jones, was a child. And they did that so that the children that were reading these comics could put themselves in this comic and be like, oh, what if I could be Batman's sidekick? What if I could be Captain? What if I could be Bucky? What if I could be Captain America's sidekick? That's why they were children, to appeal to the children that are, reading the comics. Where Miss Marvel is a comic fan. And that's what we are. We're all comic fans because we're loving these comics. We're loving these movies. So it's almost like she's one of us. She's one of us that got powers in this world. So it's taken that same premise that they've done since the 1930s and flipping it a little bit. And it's just working for me. Like the show worked for me. We can get into this because I know you want to talk about it, and I agree. There's certainly bad guy issues with villain issues, certainly. But as far as everything else, the good guys are cast, except for the antagonists, big fan of.
Yeah, and I'll say, comparing it to like Thor: The Dark World, where they had bad guy issues, but the rest of the movie wasn't so incredibly enjoyable to me that it eradicated that. Where this, they had bad guy issues big time, but I didn't even care because I truthfully didn't even need a bad guy. I just needed to see a girl getting powers and dealing with it. I literally didn't even need. It could have been like 6 episodes of her going, how do I do this, man?
Right.
It could have been like, oh, there's a guy stealing a bike over. It could have been just that. And that would have been absolutely fine. As a matter of fact, I think they went too far with the Jinn, who was supposed to be like the genies, of old. And what was the other group called? I forgot the
Clandestine?
Clandestines. The Clandestines. It was almost like they were trying to pile on so many different layers of history and bad guys that I literally could have been, what is this? Why does she have powers? Okay, they have this. I liked in the first episode you saw where the gauntlet came from. And then you saw the 10 rings and you saw the blue arm, which I think ultimately at the end we'll find out turns out to be Kree because of how it ends. And then it could have just been like, oh, cool. I think they had to explain, and we'll get back to it, ultimately, that why does she have powers if everybody, because her family has the same amount of whatever she had, her family had the same amount of that clandestine and Jinn in them. So why wouldn't they also have powers if they put on the gauntlet? And ultimately, when we get to the end and we talk about that, they had to do something to separate her. But I think they literally could have just not even thought about that really. They could have left that a little bit to the imagination and then explained it there at the end. They could have done that where the brother takes it. It's like, well, how come I can't do anything? And they could have made fun of the brother. It just, I think that would have been kind of fun. And they could have done it too, where mom put it on and she doesn't want to put it on because maybe there's something to the mom, and that could have been a red herring. They could have left that. You said your mom's the favorite. I love the father every bit as much. It is my favorite family I would say not even in the MCU, just one of my favorite families that I get to watch. And I hope like hell they're in every Miss Marvel movie, everything she's in. And I hope they get another series where it's, the family is showcased. I'm running off in 12 different directions here. I think what's great about this is often in these movies, who they are is a secret and they're loners. And I even like who said it that in the trailer for She-Hulk, she goes, not a superhero, that's for like adults who live by themselves, nobody knows them, they're all
orphans or whatever.
Orphans, yeah, adult orphans. And I love that. And in this, it's a family affair. It's literally a family affair. I love the fact that they already knew and they were like cool about it. Yeah, it was a little rushed. It was a little, again, this whole thing was about, I would have liked to see a little more time taken with the mother doesn't trust, the mother trusts, a little more time dealing with that. But goddamn, it was so cute. I can't say there's another show that I loved Hawkeye because it felt like Marvel, and I loved it. Was a great balance of action and superhero and tone. I think this one also a great balance of fun, action, superhero tone. I think Loki had a nice balance of fun, action, superhero tone. WandaVision, I think those would be my top 4 if we had to talk about it. The series was directed by it had 8 people and 2 of them were paired up, but I can't remember exactly. The 2 guys who did the first 2 episodes did a couple of the other episodes. Well, they all did 2 episodes, didn't they? Whoever did the first 2 episodes, the creativity, the way they used the landscape and the topography and just the world as they're texting and they're social communicating was phenomenal. I mean, literally, I could literally watch them just communicate that way. It was so fun, so interesting. They did such a great, it looked great. It was vibrant. I didn't think I was going to like the powers, but I got used to them quickly. Again, I just wanted a little more time. 8 episodes. Come on, 8 episodes.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. It had been 8
yeah,
episodes would have been awesome.
A little more with Zoe, so she could have a little more of an arc, because she was great. A little more with the parents adapting to who she is. If you're gonna take away an episode or 2 for us as we travel to Pakistan and give us a history lesson, which I love. Don't get me wrong, I love that. I'd say, a matter of fact, the first 25, 30 minutes of, I want to say episode 4, when they're the history in Pakistan, that was breathtaking. That I want the movies to look like that. That was some of the best filmmaking I had seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was absolutely gorgeous. That being said, I think it's the lowest rated or the lowest viewed of any of the Marvel shows.
I think it might be the lowest viewed, but the highest audience score.
Oh, that could be. I actually didn't hear the audience score thing, but I did know it's the lowest viewed. But that's great. And I think over time, people are going to rediscover it, because you're right. Aman Vellani, the lead actress, she never acted before. You talk about finding a needle in a haystack, and just, oh my God, did she hit every of the heavy emotional beats? No, but I've seen De Niro not hit every the emotional beats. So, was she great when she needed? Yeah. Oh my God. How do you not want to be friends with her? She is just charming and vulnerable and loyal and apologetic and just curious and funny. Awesome. She's absolutely great. I'd go down the cast list, but I can only pronounce 2 of the names. Right. Aman Vellani, only because I heard it pronounced over the past year. Matt Lintz, who is actually Atlanta-based, playing Bruno, was actually in the final 3 to play Spider-Man. And he actually is one of the sons of an actress I know here in town named Kelly Lintz, who is phenomenal. But she's awesome. And I'm lucky enough to know her. And she's an incredible teacher, but even that much a better actor and an incredible parent, clearly, because all 4 of her kids are leads in TV shows over time. Amazing, talented family. And yeah, this is great. I mean, I just love, I'd love to pronounce the names of the people who was Muniba and Nakia and Kamran and Youssef and Amir and Sana and Najma. But I'll screw them all up. Just watch the show. You are introduced to a world of Pakistani actors who are just phenomenal, just absolutely phenomenal. And it brings the world a little closer together. And what I love about this, it takes you into places. When was the last time you got to spend time in a mosque? I mean, come on. I mean, and to me, and you just realize everybody's the same, man. I loved how everybody who I know saw this said, "Oh, my family's just like that. Italians are just like that, and Greek, everybody's just like that." Shut the fuck up. I mean, it's just, it's just family is family, and everybody cares about their own, and that's great. And everybody wants the same thing, and it just feels good. It's a good feeling show, Chad. That's how I feel about
it's a feel good show, absolutely. Yeah. And I'd say, one of the things that I've seen that some people are not happy with is the fact that she's not an Inhuman. She's a mutant, apparently.
Yeah.
And in the comics, she's an Inhuman. So what I would say to that is, again, I'm a comics guy. What I would say to that is the only reason, I believe this 100%, the only reason that Miss Marvel was an Inhuman when she was created.
I can finish your sentence, but I won't. I know exactly.
It is because the studio, MCU, did not have the rights to the X-Men at the time.
That's it.
So they were trying to push the Inhumans as the new X-Men.
That's it.
And that's what they were doing. They're creating Inhumans to try to replace the X-Men for their movie slate. If this had not been a problem, there's no doubt
she would have been
from the beginning.
Exactly.
From the beginning.
Exactly. They just made it the way it would have been had Disney not sold off the rights to certain characters.
Exactly.
That's all.
That's what happened. So that doesn't bother me at all. And I know there's fans of Inhumans out there. They're fine. Okay. But you cannot say that mutants are not more popular. I mean, mutants are more popular. They are. Absolutely. There's no doubt. They've been around. The X-Men at a time was the highest selling franchise for Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Inhumans can't even sustain a series. Like, they're not as popular. So yeah, it's totally fine. And even makes sense that she's a mutant. And
that being said, look, Disney is a very successful mega company. It's a business. Marvel is a business. The Inhumans are an IP and they have value. Marvel does not leave value sitting around. Those of you who are diehard and look, nobody bigger, between the two of us, three of us, nobody a bigger fan of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. than me. And that's why I was introduced to the Inhumans. And nobody wants Quake back more than me. I mean, I thought she was great. She would be perfect in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's no doubt in my mind that at some point, probably sooner rather than later, there will be a version of the Inhumans introduced, whether it's, I've heard things about the Inhumans Universal or it's something, I don't know, there's so many different names and the way things are called. There's no doubt in my mind they're going to be there. But again, it's not Marvel's job to tell the comics verbatim. They're adapting the comics. They're taking characters and they're not going to tell the same stories because you don't want to see the same story. They're telling new stories and they're reinventing they're the ones in charge. They're telling it. And look, we're so fucking spoiled. We're so goddamn spoiled. It's an abundance of riches. We have rich men problems when it comes to content. We're bitching and moaning about Thor 4. I mean,
not only Thor 4, Thor is at least characters you've heard of. Miss Marvel just had a show. Moon Knight just had a show. Guardians of the Galaxies has Rocket Raccoon in it. It is unbelievable what Marvel has brought to the table.
Wonder Man is getting a show. I mean, it's just, you're getting, and again, I was going to say about the two directors I was talking about. I'm so bad with names right now. The two that I really dug the most were hired by DC. They're doing Batgirl.
I think I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, so just again, it's just discovering wonderful talent. Not everything's going to be a 10 out of 10. It's just, you can't, we want what we want. And we're in a crazy world where social media is just permeating everything and the lunatic fringe gets a voice and blah, 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 blah. Just sit back and freaking enjoy. I'll tell you that in the second post-credit scene, Kamala Khan falls back in her bed. Her bangle starts, acting up. She stands up. Cool effect. Gets exploded through the wall into her closet. Brie Larson comes out. And I know there was some weird talk. To me, it was very clear that was Captain Marvel. That wasn't Kamala Khan turning it there, because the reaction was she's looking around. She's, where am I? What is this?
Where
shit?
am I? Totally.
Yeah, it wasn't. Oh my God, look at me. It was, where am I? That being said, and I'm a fan of Brie Larson. She's a phenomenal actor. I know a lot of people maybe didn't like her interpretation right off the bat in the movie, as opposed to I liked her more in Endgame than I did in her movie per se. But again, it's an interpretation. She's a great actor. She looked phenomenal. All she said in this post-credit scene was, "Oh, no." But dude, she looked like she had slimmed down. She just looked awesome. I always thought she was attractive. She was fine. She looked stunning in this post-credit scene.
Oh yeah. And I thought I heard that it was actually Nia DaCosta that directed that post-credit scene.
That's right.
Who is, of course, directing Marvels.
Yes,
so.
Exactly. So that should be a lot of fun. So what we assume is that they flip places, because again, the storyline is the Bangle. There's supposed to be two of them. They was always looking for the other one, and together the powers are a little different, more powerful than separate. So the assumption is maybe Carol Danvers, they had found the other Bangle somewhere else, and they just flip-flopped whatever the hell was going on. But we'll get to see that in 2023, I'm thinking, right?
And then people will bitch about that too. So
oh yeah,
that's just the way it is. You
that's
are right about that.
Go ahead and bitch, people. Any more on this? What do you got on this? What else? Any final words?
Like I said, I love the show. It's one of my favorite of the MCU shows, just because again, to me, it's like Spider-Man brought to life. It really is. Yeah, I love it.
So endearing. It's so endearing. You watched Stranger Things. Why don't you talk to the audience about that? I'll sit back like an audience member and just kind of enjoy.
Yeah. So last time I talked about part 1 of Stranger Things season 4, they dropped the part 2, the finale, which is really just 2 episodes. But the next to last episode was, I'm going to say, like an hour and 40 minutes. And the last episode was 2 hours and 20 minutes or something. So they were movies, basically. It didn't disappoint, that's for sure. I feel like that this could have been, and it almost seemed like a season finale, a series finale. I'm sorry. That it seemed like that they were writing this as a series finale last season, and either they got more money or decided at some point in the writing process to do a 5th season, because it felt like, based on the reveal of the bad guy and his relation to everything, this was the final boss. It was this was the end. Everything was coming full circle. But what they did was they didn't kill off any of the original characters, and they could have easily done that. And it's very possible that had this been the series finale, that's the route they were heading in, to kill off some originals. So I think that it was really good, but I think maybe they changed course a little bit towards the end in the writing process. But I'm a big fan of the show. The cast is great. I'm looking forward to season 5. I do think that the writers have to be a little bit careful, because they pulled the same trick at the end of season 3 and season 4. At the end of season 3, a major character dies. We see them die. We believe them to be dead. We mourn them. We cry. We feel for the other people that person's dead, and then they're not really dead, and something has happened that saved their life. The other characters don't know that at the end of season 3, but Hopper is still alive. That's the gist of it. In this one, we get another character that dies, a major character. The writers get the benefit of showing this character's death, and the other people that we see mourn for her, and that she's not really dead. They played the same trick. So I think they got to be really careful about that, because they went back to the well.
Yeah.
And then also, they're known to do this, and they did it again. They will introduce a character this season that's a pretty fan favorite character, and they will kill off that character before the end. That's the stakes. Is none of the originals die, but a character that they introduced this season dies at the end. Like really dies, not fake dies.
Yeah.
So they've done that for like 3 seasons too. So I just feel like they got to change it up a little bit, and don't use those same tricks, and, finish it out in season 5. And, I'm looking forward to it. I heard there's going to be a spinoff or something. Who knows if that's going to be years before, one character going off, moving, who knows? But I'm a big fan of Stranger Things. I really like this show a lot. And a lot of it is due to they're not even kids anymore, but the kids.
Yeah.
And their chemistry. They nailed it with the casting from day one with this show. And whenever they bring anybody else in to augment the cast, they fit right in perfectly.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's done very well. So I'm looking forward to season 5 to see how they wrap it all up. But yeah,
I got a lot
of good stuff. Recommend.
I got a lot to catch up on. I saw season 1. I was fine with it. I liked it. I wasn't in love with it. Like, we've had this discussion before. So much content, Chad. I can never.
So much content, and kind of similar to Harry Potter. I feel like that it's getting darker as we go. This season was the darkest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's nothing about kids playing around in this one. There are real stakes with real death, and it's not just like, hey, let's have fun with our friends and go look for a missing friend. Not have fun, but you know what I mean? Like, it's still kind of like an adventure they're doing. This is an adventure. This is life or death. That's what they moved to, from an adventure to life or death. Because like Goonies, I know you haven't really seen it, but the gist of it is they're kids and they're going on a treasure hunt, and there's a gang trying to like catch them and kill them, but they're not really in any danger. You know what I mean? They're not really in any danger at the beginning. There's danger all through this. Yeah. So yeah, I think it's good how they've kind of grown with the audience, Harry Potter style.
And again, you gave me too much credit. You you really kind of haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. Like, I have not seen the Goonies. I have 3 copies of DVD. I'm sure it's streaming for free. I like everybody in it. Huge Brolin fan. I have not seen that's Zemeckis. Who directed Goonies?
It might be Zemeckis. That sounds right. Spielberg produced it. I know that.
I love the entire pedigree. Have not seen the Goonies. I'm an idiot. Have they greenlit season 5 yet? Is that a thing, or is this one of those things where they're?
No, it's greenlit. It's already. Okay. They've already, like, the poster. Release poster is already out.
Gotcha.
It's like a thing for sure.
Gotcha.
No, it's not Zemeckis. Richard Donner.
Donner. Gotcha. I'm sorry. Yeah. Equally is great. Right, I love. I just. They're in the same pantheon to me. It's just they're awesome. They're awesome. I just want to give a shout out to a show that I'm watching right now that is just awesome. I got to tell you, Apple Plus may not have all the subscribers. They have all the money in the world. The quality of the shows on their streaming service is amazing. Right now, I'm watching one called Blackbird, which was based loosely on a true story about a Taron Egerton plays just a very cool, hip, fun, but he's a drug dealer, and he was a very smart guy, but he gets caught. And he makes a deal with the prosecution that if he pleads guilty, he'll get 5 years, he'll be out in 4, which is a gift. And they screw him. Okay. And they go behind his back and he gets 10 years, no option for parole. Right? And Ray Liotta, in one of his last performances, who's awesome, plays his dad. And he's like, I'm going to help you. I'm going to get you out, blah, 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 blah. He goes, don't do anything. Liotta's character, something happens to him. The prosecutors come to Taron's character in jail because they have put away a known serial killer who they don't quite have all the evidence on. They're having him held right now due to some circumstantial evidence. But right now they have this crazy serial killer played by the great Paul Walter Hauser, who is phenomenal. You remember him from I, Tonya and the Richard Jewell movie. So the prosecutor comes to Taron real fast and says, "We'll make you a deal. If we get you into this lunatic prison and you're undercover and you get him to admit where one of the bodies are, we'll wipe out your sentence." And it's what he goes through in this prison. And it's 3 episodes are out right now, and it is phenomenal. Anyway, I digress. Jump in.
I was going to say real fast about Paul Walker Hauser. You said I may know him from I, Tonya or a Richard Jewell movie. I know him from Cobra Kai, baby. Cobra Kai.
Wow.
He's in everything.
I didn't know he was on that.
Yes, he's awesome on Cobra Kai.
That's hysterical. And it's Taron Egerton, Paul Walter Hauser, Greg Kinnear, who's great. Leota's great. There's an actress who maybe I've seen before, and she's Middle Eastern. It's Sepideh Moafi. I'm going to click on her real fast right here. I mean,
did your power just go out? It looks like your lights just went out.
It just got dark. It just really got dark. It's actually better lit. I like the way this is lit. Sepideh Moafi was born on September 18th, 1985 in Bavaria, West Germany. She's an actress. She was in The Killing of Two Lovers, The L Word. She's phenomenal. Just everybody in this is great. Everybody in this is great. Good. She's had the first time looking at her credits here. Everybody knows her. She's awesome. Anyway, great show. When this is over, I want to watch Severance. I've heard great things about Severance, which is on there, which just racked up some Emmy Award nominations. Anyway, I digress. Want to talk about some trailers?
Too much, like you said. There's too much.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. There's too many shows.
And more coming out. It's why even bother trying? There are things that I started watching that I loved, and then I forgot to finish because there was so much I got distracted. Completely forgot. I was like madly in love with Umbrella Academy season 3, and then I totally forgot I didn't finish it. I was like, oh my God. I was like 3 weeks later, I was like, what am I missing? Oh my God, Umbrella Academy. I wonder if I can finish that. Yeah, crazy. So much good stuff. Murders in the Building. I think we had a little glitch in the internet. Hold on. I'm gonna plug my internet into the hold on 1 second, Chadwick.
You think it has anything to do with the power being out at your house?
Oh, you know what? Maybe the power is out of my house. Hold on 1 second. No, I got power.
Okay.
You know what's so funny is I'm looking around going, the only thing that's on is this ring light, and that's being powered by my laptop, and that has power because it's charged. I'm like, literally, I could have no power at this house right now. I had to double check. It's so crazy. What are we talking about? Okay, I plugged into the Ethernet right now. Oh,
we're moving on to trailers.
What? Murders in the Building, real fast. I belly laughed at season 2, episode 3, 2 nights ago, when Martin Short and Steve Martin were trying to do an impression of this crazy old woman in the building who just died to try to get her parrot to talk to her. And the camera is literally, it's the look right into the lens with 2 of them side by side, doing the weirdest goddamn impression. And I'm belly laughing like an idiot. It's awesome. Watch it.
I did finish season 1 of Only Murders in the Building. Haven't started season 2 yet.
Gotcha.
Martin Short is very, very good on this show. Like, again, he's Martin Short. I mean,
yeah,
I'm not saying anything, but he's very funny.
And it's not just wacky; it's kind of grounded. It's still his silliness, but it's there's so much purpose behind his stuff. And the first couple episodes, I was like, okay, it's Steve Martin's show, and then it was like episode 3 when Martin Short just got launched, and I was he's awesome. I could see him winning the Emmy for best actor in a comedy. He's great, absolutely fucking great. Anyway, I digress.
Is he nominated, or are they not have released those yet?
Yeah. So Steve Martin and him got nominated, but she didn't get nominated in actress. But it's apples and oranges because it's so many different categories are just all over the place. So and she's great. I mean, she's a wonderful straight man.
Yeah, all 3 of them.
Yeah. Everybody. And season 3, they expand the cast a little bit, and they open it up a little bit.
Season 2?
I'm sorry, season 2. Well, season 3 too. Not about that. They bring in some other people who are just funny as hell. Anyway, it's great. Trailers. Coming soon. Chad. For today, we have 3 trailers we're going to talk about. The menu consists of Honk for Jesus, which Chad told me about today. The Lord of the Rings series, which will be on Amazon Prime. And the Munsters, directed by Rob Zombie. There's a lot to say about that, I think. What do you want to start with on the menu today, Chad?
I say we leave the Munsters for last.
Yes, I do.
That's for sure.
Yeah, we don't want to. Yeah, okay. I don't want to say anything. Let's start with Lord of the Rings. That's you're a little more up to. You're I watched it. It looks beautiful, but you know the lore. I don't know the lore. You know the lore of the rings. I don't know the lore of the rings.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lord of the Rings is, the Rings of Power. It's a TV show on Amazon Prime. It seems to be that it's, set well before Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring is one of my favorite movies of all time. I love Fellowship of the Ring. So this trailer didn't really show us a whole lot. Like you said, it was beautiful. We're back in that world. I hope this series lasts for as long as they want it to go. 10 seasons, whatever. Just keep it going. There's nothing in it that gave me pause, that made me think, ooh, this is going to be bad. There's nothing in it that made me think, oh, this is going to be the best show I've ever seen. So it's just Lord of the Rings. It's that world, which I love. So hopefully the writing's good because it looked beautiful. And I love that world. When you have, humans, dwarves, elves interacting, doing all this stuff, it's kind of like Game of Thrones, but more magical. Because there's wizards and things. There's some magic in Game of Thrones, but nothing like Lord of the Rings. Do you know what I mean? Like,
the little I saw,
I'm hoping it's just going to be super popular.
I was saying the little I saw of Game of Thrones is bleak. There's a bleakness to it. There wasn't never a bleakness to me to Lord of the Rings. Even though there was desperation, there was dire circumstances, but I never felt, like that nausea in the pit of my stomach, bleakness. That's, to me, that was the difference. It looked great. I don't know one person in this movie, one actor. Again, that doesn't mean anything. Amazon spent $1 billion to produce $1 billion to the rights of this, to produce this. It's gonna be, if money can buy magical, it's gonna be magical. Hopefully, again, it's gonna come down to.
Well, that's why I hope, because
you there?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's why I hope that because they spent so much, I hope it works.
Yeah.
I hope that it works.
And again, it's gonna come down to the writing. Did they take their time? Did they dot every I and cross every T? Did they really, just to make sure all the characters have their time and their room to breathe and the relationships are strong? And I hope it's great. Again, I want to get right to the top of the list. Let's put it on the big screen and watch the shit out of it and see what we get here. I think that's gonna be awesome. What does it say? It says epic drama set thousands of years before the events of J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, follows an ensemble cast of characters, both familiar and new, as they confront the long-feared reemergence of evil to Middle Earth. It's funny. I looked at the names of the actors, but I didn't look at the characters they were playing. It would have been, maybe I would have recognized some of the character names. I didn't even look to see the names of the characters that are in this. But we'll bring this. I know Keith's going to want to talk about this next week when we dive into what was revealed over at Comic-Con. I keep wanting to say Dragon Con because I'm an idiot, but it's all right. Anyway, but it looks beautiful.
Speaking of, Comic-Con is coming up, so we'll probably have a lot of news to talk about at the very least.
Oh yeah,
after Comic-Con next weekend for sure.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that for sure. Chad told me to watch Honk for Jesus, which I did. Great cast. Sterling K. Brown leads this wonderful. It says Honk for Jesus, Save Your Soul, is a satirical comedy starring Regina Hall, is awesome, as Trinity Childs, the proud first lady of a Southern Baptist megachurch, who, together with her husband, Pastor Lee Curtis Childs, Sterling K. Brown, once served a congregation in the tens of thousands. But after a scandal forces the church to temporarily close, Trinity and Lee Curtis must reopen their church and rebuild their congregation to make the biggest comeback that commodified religion has ever seen. Chad, what'd you think about this?
I think that this has the potential for Regina Hall. It's a tour de force performance. Yeah. It could be. I think that in the trailer, what she's doing is amazing.
Yeah.
She is awesome. And she is playing it pitch perfect.
Yep.
I've been a fan of hers, but like when I saw this, I was like, this is amazing how good she is in this trailer. So that's number one. Number two, Sterling K. Brown. If he's not chewing scenery in this movie, it is amazing. The two of these actors together, I want to watch all day.
Yep.
I didn't know anything about this movie. The trailer was in front of Thor, and I almost wanted to talk about that more than Thor after it was over. Like, I love this trailer. I thought it was so well done. And I'm looking forward to seeing what these two actors do in this movie. Look great.
It's so funny. Sterling K. Brown is amazing. There's a reason he works all the goddamn time, because he is amazing. And it's funny to me, he always feels like a ticking time bomb. He feels like a powder keg. He's so, you talk about someone who just restrains what he's feeling to try to do the right thing. He plays characters that are so just grounded and morally sound. And when he does explode, it's earned. I feel like somebody just said, we're untethering you. Boom, just go at it. And he just, like the Tasmanian devil, he's off, and he is having an absolute ball getting to play this just energetic lunatic. And it looks like a blast. She's the one who seems to be tiger by the tail. She's just holding on for dear life, just trying to ground him, holding together their world before he destroys it. It's two just great actors at the top of their game. And again, that's enough for me to see it. That on top of the fact it looks like a blast. Executive producer Jordan Peele. I mean, the pedigree. And I'm watching the trailers playing right now on IMDb. Daniel Kaluuya and Jordan Peele are both exec producers on this. So just the pedigree and the detail is just going to be spectacular. And this is one of those, actually, it's releasing, such a crazy world. It's releasing in theaters and simultaneously on Peacock.
Oh,
so
really? Peacock? Ooh, yeah. I didn't know that.
It's a universal joint, as they say. That's really good. Hey, growing up, I love the Munsters. I mean, I love the Munsters. I mean, I know a lot of people there. You have your Addams Family people and your Munsters. I was a Munsters person. I just was. Had nothing against the Addams Family. Just love the Munsters. Eddie Munster, Herman, Lily, just the whole family. Grandpa. What was the blonde's name? I forgot the blonde character who was like the normal one. It was
Marilyn. Is it Marilyn?
Marilyn. Loved them all. Rob Zombie apparently was hired under the radar. I didn't know this was coming, to make a Munsters movie. Rob Zombie's done some fun stuff, some great horror over the years. I know Rob Zombie can make a quality movie because I've seen him make a movie that looks like a movie. Halloween, Absolutely. House of 1,000 Corpses, The Devil's Rejects. I mean, it's seen him. I go, wow, he knows how to make.
Especially the horror community. Some people in the horror community can't stand him, but almost all of them will say The Devil's Rejects is a great horror movie. Yeah. And it is. So even, the horror community recognizes that he can make good movies.
Yeah.
For sure.
So let me tell you my initial reaction when I first watched this trailer. I started watching it and I was like, oh, the credits, the opening, the font is kind of weird, kind of cheesy. It's kind of weird. And then it kicked in and I started laughing because I thought, all right, they're fucking with us. When is the real trailer going to play? And that was the trailer. And all I can tell you what it looks like to me. And I heard today that they spent $40 million on this. So, yeah. Wow. So, and I say this with deference to somebody, again, I'm not dropping names. I got to know Daniel Roebuck over the years. He's a great guy. He's playing grandpa in this. He might be the biggest sci-fi monster aficionado I've ever met in my life. He's got his own museum he lives and breathes this genre. He is known for it. And you talk about someone who is just, his career has just been nonstop work for decades now, and a great guy. I say this with much love for him. I couldn't believe it. Looked like there was a time period when digital filmmaking started, cameras came in, but it wasn't high def. There was a period when there were cameras like the Panasonic DVX 100 and things like that didn't shoot high def. And, it was really, the resolution wasn't great. And anything that was shot in low light or at night just had this awful greenish, yellowish, blown out, bleeding reddish hue. And it just looked cheap. It was just a step above VHS without lighting. And that's what this looks like. I mean, it looks like a movie. And again, don't get me wrong, story could usurp that. This visual style is a choice. I don't know how this was a choice, but this looks like something that you'd kind of roll your eyes at a film festival. You know, not even like a big one, a small film festival in bumfuck in South Carolina, and you're like, oh, my friend so and so made this. It looks really bad. It looks really bad. That I was stunned. When I watched it, I needed somebody to look at it and go, what? There was nobody there. I was like, am I imagining this? Anyway, what was your reaction?
It was terrible. Short answer, but you said you didn't know anything about this. So what happened for me is I knew he was making this, and I am kind of I'm not a super fan of Rob Zombie. Like, I like his first Halloween, do not like his second Halloween. House of a Thousand Corpses is a little, it's fine, but I'm a fan of Devil's Rejects, things like that. So I mean, he can make some movies, and he's made other movies that are enjoyable. And I was a Munsters guy too, more so than the Addams Family. So I was actually like interested in his take. And when I heard that he was doing this, I even remember texting Keith saying, Rob Zombie's doing the Munsters. That should be interesting. Little did I know that it would look like this, because there's nothing about this that looks like Rob Zombie. I'll tell you that. You know, nothing.
No.
I don't see any Rob Zombie in this. It looks cheap as can be. It looks like, you're not going to appreciate this because you weren't there at the time, but like, it looks like something on Nickelodeon from maybe the early 90s that they would put on Saturday night or something like that. That's for kids. Like hardcore.
It felt like an Elvira
kids.
thing. It felt like Elvira would go, oh, let's watch the shitty blah, 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 blah of the Munsters.
But it almost felt like, when you say Elvira, it almost felt like not the movie she was watching, but like Elvira on her cheap ass set.
Exactly.
Where like there's a cauldron beside her, you know. It's amazing how bad this looked. I cannot believe that the studio is happy with what they've seen.
There's no way they are. How would you, literally, I'm pairing in my mind the Fantastic Four movie that never got released a gazillion years ago.
Roger Corman's.
Yeah. I mean, it's Roger Corman-esque. And I'm not taking a shot at Roger Corman. Roger Corman did what Roger Corman, he had his own genre. That's fine. But nobody was aiming for this. I can't imagine. Yeah,
no,
it's crazy.
I felt like it would have been better maybe if it would have just been black and white the entire trailer, and therefore the entire movie, because it comes to the black and white shots, it didn't look as cheap.
Yeah,
that didn't mean it looked better, great,
sure.
But it didn't look as cheap. The color was amazingly bad. Like I just and I know if they say something like, well, we're trying to do the same aesthetic of the original TV show, that's not working. I don't care what you say. Tarantino and Rodriguez did Grindhouse movies where they copied the aesthetic. It still looked like a movie to me.
Oh yeah. 100%.
It didn't look like, oh my God, this looks like it's cheap as all get out.
I need you to watch something, and we'll bring it up, because I know Keith's going to want to talk about this next week. Daniel Roebuck has his own YouTube channel, and I just happened to notice that he was doing a trailer reaction for this, and he hadn't seen it. And he talks about, and he mea culpas a little bit. He doesn't apologize for it, but he certainly skirts the issue of, and he tries to explain a few things on the aesthetic and, and the actors. And again, Roebuck's the nicest guy on the planet, so he was never going to take he's never going to be. He's not going to be objective about it. He's going to be. It's very subjective. And but I would encourage you to listen to that. Can you hear me or no?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. I thought I couldn't see. I couldn't tell. I would listen to that, and then we'll talk next couple of days. But we'll bring it up again next week when we because I don't think this discussion's over. I think there's going to be so much discussion about this.
Yeah, and I really want to hear Keith's thoughts on it, because I feel like he's going to be like, this aesthetic was so much like the original. It was perfect. That's exactly what he's going for. He nailed it. It is the show. I'm watching the show from whatever, the 70s or whenever it came out. That's what I'm watching. He nailed it. I feel like he's going to love it. I hope so.
I hope he does. It's going to make it more fun. It'll make it more fun. So we'll do that again next week. So what's upcoming is Comic-Con's this weekend. Marvel is back there for the first time in a few years. Well, because there really hasn't been one. Supposedly they have about an hour set aside. From all the leaks I'm hearing, an hour is not going to be enough to describe all the bullshit rumors. So we will see.
Which I'm trying to avoid.
Yeah.
Even though, again,
I won't say a
a
word.
lot of it might be bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't want to see any of this stuff that they may not be talking about, who they're going to announce, what they're going to announce.
I don't want to get my hopes up.
Casting they're going to announce.
I don't want to get my hopes up.
Like, if it was true and confirmed, it'd be fine because we're not going to be there.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So if we hear it 3 days early, that's great if it's true. But I don't want to hear like they've done some amazing casting and then that's not what it is. So yeah, other than Comic-Con, I know we got Nope coming up. I know Keith and I'll watch that. I'm not, I don't know. You're kind of scared of horror movies, but
I am not
Jordan
scared
Peele.
of horror. And that's a sci-fi movie. That's not a horror. To me, that's sci-fi.
So you'll watch it then, is what you're saying.
That's right. I draw the line. It is clearly more sci-fi than horror. But if it's a sci-fi horror, then all the better. No, I'll see that. I'll see that. I want to see that in the theater. I want to see that on the big screen.
Yeah.
I'll probably go
definitely.
check that out. Maybe Saturday evening. Hell, maybe Thursday night, depending on. Well, no, I'm doing Zoom classes Thursday, Friday night. We'll see. I'll see it this weekend. Yeah, I do want to see that. So we got that coming up. Keith will be back. He's shooting down. I can't say what it is, but he's shooting on a project. He's
Tom
a
Cruise,
working actor.
Top Gun 3.
That's right. And he's Maverick's sidekick. He's Robin to Tom Cruise's Batman. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
I thought that he was Goose's illegitimate son that they didn't know he had.
No, he's hired to goose Tom Cruise, which is nice. That's his dream coming true. So he'll be doing that. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here. Chad, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter, Chad129X. They can find the podcast on Twitter, NQC Podcast.
Awesome. And you can find me on Twitter at Rob Pralgo and Instagram at Robert Pralgo. I don't know why you would, but that's where I am. Thanks for checking out the podcast. Leave a comment if you can. And Keith will also post this on YouTube some places, so we'll share that link as well. And thanks for being not quite cool with us. We'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully I don't fucking ruin this. I'm hitting the stop button now.
Peace.
Don't hit erase, Rob. Don't hit erase.
Not Quite Cool is a podcast recorded in Atlanta, Georgia, in conjunction with Actors Teaching Actors and Bean Dip Productions. Thanks.